tell us what this is all about. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mark. All right, so as I was walking up here, I actually noticed that my mother left. I feel like I should wait for her. So, if you guys don't mind, how'd you guys like the dinner? Need to find a way to stall. Anybody got any good bar games, maybe? Oh, now she's back. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Mom. All right. Now that that's out of the way, before I begin, I would also like to get a little retaliation for the last 3.5 years at Marquette. So, to my faculty of the College of Health Sciences over here, there's going to be an exam on Monday. So, I hope you guys came with something to take notes, and make sure you guys are paying attention. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let me take a moment to introduce myself. So, as Mark said, my name is Kloehn, and I am a senior at Marquette University, studying biomedical sciences with a minor in neuroscience. And I am hoping to become a physician someday. And for those of you that don't know me, you probably are wondering why this young kid, I call myself an adult actually, I'm standing in front of you today. And I am actually legally blind, so I have a condition called optic nerve atrophy, and that means that my optic nerve never fully developed. Now, the optic nerve connects the back of the eye to the brain, and so it basically carries the message of what you're seeing to your brain. I have a visual acuity of about 20/200, so that means that what a person with perfect vision, or 20/20 vision, can see at about 200 feet away, I would have to be about 20 feet away to be able to see that same thing. In saying this, I cannot legally drive legally, but what happens at the farm stays at the farm. So, all right. Now, my parents didn't find out about my vision until I was in about first grade, and up until that point, they had raised me as any normal child. Played sports, learned to ride a bike, even played baseball. Looking back, probably not the best choice, Mom and Dad. And once my parents found out about my vision, they made the decision to continue to raise me the way they had been, just like any normal child. And so I continued to be involved in sports. I played soccer, did triathlons, and even skied. And throughout middle school, elementary school, high school, I continued on with all these things. And then in middle school, took a trip out to Colorado with the school, and I was the only student from the school to hike up to the top of Breckenridge Ski Resort and take on the lake chutes, which are considered double black diamond extreme terrain runs. So some of the hardest runs in Colorado. I would then use this experience in an essay in high school to write about how sports had positively impacted my life as a person with a disability. This essay was to enter a contest to win a trip to the Paralympic Games in Vancouver, Canada. And I was one of 11 students chosen from the United States to go. And it was the experience of a lifetime. We got to meet a bunch of athletes, we got to hang out with the coaches, and we even got to watch a bunch of sports. Now, some of these sports were sledge hockey, we got to watch downhill and cross-country skiing, and we also got the privilege of spending over 3 hours watching curling. Yeah, pretty exhilarating. Yeah, but actually, meeting all the athletes of so many different abilities was so inspiring to me, and it showed me that I can accomplish anything I set my mind to, and I can basically do anything I want, just as all of these athletes had overcome so much adversity to get to the point that they were at. Speaking of adversity, I think it's time to embarrass myself a little bit. So, what they didn't tell you about the eye shades you were wearing earlier is that they're actually very special. The eye shades allow you to look deep into your imagination, and they heighten your senses. So I won't make you all put on your eye shades again, But if you want, feel free to close your eyes and picture this story as I go through it. So here we go. Imagine that you're skiing with a group of your friends, and it's a run that you've skied a lot before. It's dark out, getting nighttime, and the conditions are fairly icy, so a little bit slick, and it's starting to snow. And being the competitive person you are, you decide to race your friends down the hill. So you're flying down the hill, and of course you're winning. And so coming up, there's a fork in the trail. And you know that the left fork is faster than the right fork. Given you want to win and keep your lead, you decide to go left. So you're about 50 yards from that fork, and you see something, you don't know what it is, but there's something there. And so you make nothing of it. It could be a shadow, it could be just you seeing something, you don't know. And so you take a glance back, you see that you're kicking everybody else's butt, of course. And so then you take another look back up. Now you're about 10 yards away from that trailhead. And this time you realize that there is something there actually. That something is a bright orange snow fence covering the entire trail. So, at this point, you know, icy conditions, there's no way you're gonna stop in time. What do? Well, you decide to take out the fence and yard sail. So basically, throw your equipment everywhere. So that's exactly what I did. I hit the fence, tucked and rolled, and for the next 10 yards, I slid, rolled a little bit, and left my equipment in a 10-yard trail. So as I look back, when I stop finally sliding, I see my friends standing there at the end of my trail of equipment, laughing as I'm laying in a burrito of snow fence. So, at an early age, I had to learn that this does happen sometimes. Not immune to it, and given that I'm a little crazy sometimes, bound to happen. So, I learned that I have to just pop back up and brush these things kind of off and laugh about them. Now, there are some things that aren't so easy to brush off, like the way people can treat me sometimes. Throughout my soccer career, we'll call it, I had some amazing coaches. Some of these coaches would go out of their way and make sure I was able to play. If there were jersey colors that were similar, my coach would make sure that we could switch colors. Or if the ball was not contrasting enough for me, go out of the way to make sure that we used a different ball. And throughout this whole time, or throughout these experiences, my team also was like behind my back quite a bit. And it was pretty amazing. And if you would ask my mom, she would say that the coach was doing this so that we would have the best chance of winning, because obviously I'm the best player on the team, right? But for me, I just assume that it's out of the best of their heart. Anyways, there would be times that even if we did switch the ball color, I wouldn't be able to see the ball against certain backdrops. Like if it went into light, or if it was against a certain color sky. And so I would lose the ball when it's coming at me. Now at this point, I would just kind of have to guess at where the ball was going to be. And when you guess at where a ball is coming, there's a bunch of factors that play into that. And so sometimes I'd miss. And this actually resulted in me getting mocked sometimes by one of my coaches. And I wasn't quite sure how to react to this at the time. I felt that a coach was somebody who was supposed to bring up their team and make their players feel better instead of bring them down. And so it took me a little while to figure out that my coach probably just didn't quite understand my vision, and that was just his way of understanding, or trying to understand, by joking about it and making fun of me. So this led to the development of a thicker skin for me, and just a deeper understanding that some people just don't quite understand what my vision is like. Now, one other final thing that's been a little bit more difficult is not being able to drive. So I want you all to picture the perfect high school date. So you just got your license, so you're feeling pretty cool. You show up to your date's house, and you get out of the car, open the door for them maybe, and then you guys go off to dinner or a movie. Well, here's how that day would go for me. So get to the house, get out, open the door for her, and get in the car. And at that point, I would introduce her to my mom, who was going to be the chauffeur for the night. Pretty romantic, right? Yeah. But I've honestly had an amazing support group of friends and family that's always been there for me. And they are always willing to drive me, and they'll bend over backwards to make sure I get where I need to go. And if they couldn't by chance, it's a good thing that I like biking and running, so I was more than willing to bike and run to where I was to stay in shape. So, luckily for me, there was a sports camp actually, and it was called the Wisconsin Association of Blind Athletes Sports Camp. This camp allowed kids like me to meet other children similar who were blind and visually impaired and learn how to play sports together. This sports camp showed us how to adapt sports that we could play with normally sighted kids. Now, 70% of school-age children have never participated in a sport or physical activity, and I find this statistic to be insane. And this sports camp was actually helping to change that statistic and make it better. Unfortunately, in 2010, this sports camp actually fell apart, and so kids not only in Wisconsin but from around the country weren't given the same opportunity that I was to learn how to adapt sports and play sports just like any normally sighted child. And so it was around this time that I realized how lucky I was. I'd been given so many opportunities to learn how to play these sports, and the way my parents raised me. And I was given just so many opportunities, and I realized how lucky I was. So it was at this point that I realized that I wanted to give back, and I wanted to live my life in service to others. And so the moment I stepped on Marquette's campus, I knew that it was the place for me. The biomedical sciences program was second to none, and the university's values matched directly with mine. It continued to foster my love for growing back, and eventually led to me developing the insane idea to restart camp. Now, being a college student trying to pay his way through school, I didn't have the money nor the experience to start a camp like this, and that's where Vision Forward stepped in. I initially brought the idea up to Terry Davis and Claire Egan, and honestly I was shocked with their response. They backed the camp 100%. Without them, it would not have happened. So we decided that camp would be held that summer, and by the time it rolled around, we had 9 athletes, we had 15 student volunteers from Marquette, and we had amazing coaches come. The whole experience was surreal to me. I never actually thought that this would become a thing. Like, my dream was becoming a reality. Pretty insane, inspiring. And so yeah, the camp, sorry, no cards, no. A lot going on. Oh yeah, there we are. So, for camp, we had set a couple goals that we wanted to accomplish. Our first goal was that we wanted to make sure that kids had the opportunity to participate in sports and learn that they can be active and healthy despite their visual impairment. This was through adapting sports and just being creative with the sports. We actually had a kid that Vision Forward has helped take one of the adaptive sports he learned back to his elementary school. And he was so excited about this sport that his gym teacher actually decided to take it on. And so his gym teacher researched it. I'm pretty sure he reached out to Vision Forward as well. And he's actually, last I heard, he was trying to implement it into the normal gym curriculum for all the students. Now this is a sport that's played with blindfolds, so everybody's on an equal playing field. I found that pretty amazing. I also hope that this sports camp would plant a seed in the kids that would grow just beyond the sports realm. That it would teach the kids that they can accomplish whatever goal they want. And it may take a little bit of perseverance, it may take a bit of resiliency, and it'll definitely take a lot of hard work, but the opportunities are endless. And now, after holding camp for a second year, we have doubled the number of campers, had over 40 student volunteers from Marquette, and we've had some amazing coaches again, including 2 U.S. Paralympic swim coaches who, right after camp, actually left to Rio to coach the U.S. Paralympic swim team. We had an ex-U.S. goalball player, and we even had the president of Marquette University come and help coach running. The support for camp has been truly inspiring to me. from Marquette University as a whole, the College of Health Sciences, the admissions, the athletics, and the Office of Disability Services. They have all helped so much in doing whatever they can to make sure that camp is a success, as well as my family, who say they put up with a stressful Ian sometimes, or stressed out Ian, I should say. So give them props. And they've all just been there for me to make sure that camp is smooth again. And finally to Vision Forward, who without them wouldn't be here today. So they've been a huge help in everything. This camp has not only had an impact on everybody else, but it's had a huge impact on me as well. I recently took up distance running, specifically the marathon distance, and I ran my first marathon in October of 2015, so a couple months after our first camp. And I honestly had no idea what to expect. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So, ran the first 20 miles. I was feeling great. And then by mile 20, my hamstrings started to cramp up, legs were getting really tight. And by mile 22, I was stopping every few minutes to stretch. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of the mythical wall. It's not really a wall, it's more like 5 brick walls. And I had tried to run through them all unsuccessfully. By mile 24, I was questioning my ability to actually finish the race. And it was at that time that I thought back to the kids at camp. And if they fell down, they would just pop right back up with a more determined look on their face, and they would accomplish whatever it was they were trying to do. They showed so much character, and it was at this point that I knew I had to finish the race. I can honestly say I don't remember much of the rest of the race from mile 24 to 26.2, but I'm proud to say that I finished in under my goal time of 2 hours and 55 minutes, and I actually qualified for the Boston Marathon, which I'll be running in April. So, if you guys have been paying attention, College of Health Sciences, you'll have realized that there are a couple main themes to this talk. One, or two of them I guess, would be dreaming big, achieving goals. And one of my big goals for life was to become a physician. Well, I'm proud to say that I have actually just been accepted into my first medical school. Hopefully more to come, Medical College of Wisconsin. And I'm now one step closer to becoming my dream of Dr. Ian Kloehn. So to wrap up, I'd just like to say I appreciate all of your willingness to experience what thousands of people experience every day. Your support is helping Vision Forward improve the lives of many of these people. And if you guys would like to help out at all with any of the programs, like my sports camp, Vision Forward staff will be coming around to hand out the opportunity for you to help people reach their fullest potential. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for listening to my story, and thank you for dining in the dark with us.
Thank you. Give a round of applause for Ian Kloehn, everyone.